I've had eyes for you since the day you first captured me.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Aries. So Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the most popular animated franchises ever. It's practically perfect in every way. But in our humble opinion, the show has one fatal flaw that we cannot overlook. And by the way, everybody, check out our new Avatar parody merch at our merch store, ScreenCrushMerch.com, where we design the shirts ourselves. We have some really fun shirts that we've designed for you, like this Bison shirt that's a parody of Jaws, the Uncle Sam I Want You for the Fire Nation Army parody shirt, and my personal favorite, I lost my honor at the Fire Nation and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. Shopping our merch store is the best way for you to directly support our channel so we can continue to make videos like this for you. So let's talk about Avatar's biggest mistake. And I just have to point out, we are huge fans of this show. It is the rare show made for children that touches on themes like war, genocide, imperialism, totalitarianism, and discrimination. It has a really impressive 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which Marvel and Star Wars properties can only dream of receiving these days.
Yeah, no kidding.
However, one choice made by the creators, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, has fans wondering if it actually works. Aang and Katara as a romantic couple. Now look, before you throw your cabbages at me, I like Katara and Aang together. Their kids, Bumi, Kaya, and Tenzin, are real seed stealers in The Legend of Korra. However, a compelling case exists on why this might not be the best creative choice to end this series with. Let me explain. Now we of course are going to be diving into spoiler territory if you don't want to know how the series ends.
Take heed and go no further.
We are so excited to finally be covering Avatar on our channel. I mean, the show has this incredible world with an expansive story that just invites you in so you can add a bit to it yourself. And this is one reason why Avatar: The Last Airbender is like such a popular RPG setting. You can go on sites like World Anvil and take a really deep dive into this lore, explore Avatar campaigns, and even design your own Avatar RPGs. I mean, World Anvil officially supports the Avatar Legends RPG system.
Wait, hold on, what's World Anvil?
Oh, dude, you don't know World Anvil? It's a software you can use for world building. You can use it for writing a fantasy or sci-fi novel, or it's like perfect for tabletop games. Really, any kind of world building you want to do, it is a great platform. Like seriously, you never heard of World Anvil?
No, not until now, no.
Well, World Anvil is our sponsor for this video, and they're not just one tool, it's 3 complete creative tool sets: a world building suite, an RPG campaign manager, and a novel writing and publishing tool. You can create interactive maps or use their huge library of character sheets and stat blocks. It's actually perfect for an RPG campaign manager if you want to build original settings for D&D, Pathfinder, and 45 more RPGs. You can keep all essential lore and stats just one click away for really fast, hassle-free prep and immersive sessions. It's actually used by like 2 million game masters.
Well, I don't read a tabletop game, but I am writing a fantasy novel. It's about a young pup named Doug who comes from humble beginnings. But get this, Doug is secretly the chosen one.
Dude, that's awesome. Would read, by the way. So World Anvil could also help you plan that novel with features like family trees, timelines, mind mapping, and plot templates based on proven storytelling methods. And with publishing, subscription, and monetization tools, you can build your own fan base. Writer's Digest actually listed World Anvil as a best website for writers. So if you want to immerse yourself in the world of Avatar or create your own new worlds, I highly suggest you try worldanvil.com. If you click the link in the description and use our code ScreenCrush, not only are you going to be helping out our channel, but you will also get 51% off any premium subscription. Now, back to Avatar. So when Aang bursts out of his self-made iceberg 100 years after Sozin's comet, he is a presenting 12-year-old kid despite being technically much older than that.
100 years.
What feels impossible is that even though the show ran for 3 seasons, the complete timeline of when Katara and Sokka discovered him until the end of the series when Zuko became the Fire Lord is only 1 year.
I can't believe a year ago my purpose in life was hunting you down.
I can't either, guys. This means that when Katara and Aang kiss in the final scene, he's about 13 and she is 15, which seems a bit young to some viewers. Everyone else around Aang is older except for Toph, who is the same age. Katara is 14 throughout the season, Sokka is 15, and Zuko is 16. Yes, age can be nothing but a number. However, Aang mostly behaves like a youthful child in the show, with most of the characters around him acting as his mentor and commenting on him being a kid. Initially, the trio was supposed to be 10, 12, and 13, but were aged up when they received a note from Eric Coleman, the head of development at Nickelodeon at the time, who said that they weren't looking for coming-of-age stories. The darker themes that Team Avatar wanted to incorporate might have sat really poorly with Nickelodeon executives and audience members had they been kids instead of preteen/teenagers. And this is also why J.K. Rowling aged Harry Potter characters up with each book. She also wanted to remain in direct correlation with her audience as they grew themselves, which is why you see them start to deal with subject matters like puberty, romance, death, and grief as they enter their teenage years. Had Avatar gone down a similar route, Aang could have faced the Fire Lord around age 15 or 16, making the time when he became romantically involved with Katara Katara about on par with when Harry began to date Jenny. Now, to be clear, the live-action series will go down this route because filming in live action just takes longer and the actors are going to age up naturally. The live-action show's creator said, all 3 seasons of the animated series essentially take place in the course of 1 year, according to Kim. There was no way we could do that, so we had to design this first season especially to accommodate the possibility of some time elapsing between the first and second season. This means that when Katara and Aang become a couple in season 3 of this series, they will both be young adults, as the actress who plays Katara is now 17 as of the recording of this video, and Gordon, who plays Aang, is now 14. Now, in the cartoon, though, with Aang being 12, it comes across as too young to begin serious dating. Yes, most boys start their sexual awakening around 13, however, Aang seems behind maturity-wise due to his struggles to take responsibility for his actions.
Hey, wait a minute. Sokka sometimes acts pretty childishly.
Sure, but it's not the same. Sokka is a quick-witted character plagued by the need to serve and protect since his father joined the war and left him in charge of his sister, Katara. His immaturity derives from falling victim to gender stereotypes.
Leave it to a girl to screw things up.
When Team Avatar visits Kyoshi Island, he encounters the Kyoshi female warriors named after Avatar Kyoshi.
There's no way a bunch of girls took us down.
A bunch of girls, huh?
After being bested by their leader and their eventual girlfriend, Suki, he willingly eats humble pie and asks to be trained by her. Sokka spends most of his character growth in the series working to redefine what it means to be a man and a protector, while being the only non-bender in the group until Suki officially joins. He matures exponentially throughout the series compared to Aang because he wants to grow up, whereas Aang wants to remain a kid. Say we take out that Aang behaves childishly and say that that doesn't disqualify him from being romantically involved with Katara. Another factor why age and behavior come into play when pairing him with Katara is the relationship dynamic. Katara acts as a mentor and caregiver to Aang for the majority of the show, ensuring that he is resting, training, and eating correctly. In general, this is her role with everyone in the group, acting as official healer, often being the one to nurture, and the one to revive since her waterbending skills grant her healing abilities. Katara is also Aang's waterbending trainer who often chastises him for being irresponsible.
Aang, that's great, but you should take it slow.
This dynamic screams more Ron and Hermione in books 1 and 2 and less Ron and Hermione in books 3 and on. When the Ember Island players performed a parody of the team's adventures, an emphasis on Katara viewing Aang like a little brother is brought up several times.
The Avatar? Why, he's like a little brother to me.
While Aang develops an instant crush on Katara, she isn't initially on the same page, crushing instead on a rebel named Jet in book 1. Later in book 3 or season 3, when confronted about her feelings by Aang himself, she wasn't confident about just how she felt. Now, a few times there is a hint of romance, especially when they are trapped in the cave of the two lovers. And when they dance during the party, Aang throws for the firebending students. Their chemistry is sweet and enduring, but less sexual, which isn't bad, it's just lacking fire. And speaking of fire, Zuko has been a popular choice to ship Katara with instead of Aang since their scene in the cave under Ba Sing Se. Trapped together, they discuss how the war affected them personally. Both lost their mother to the Fire Nation, and that loss causes extreme grief, which motivates their hatred toward Fire Lord Ozai. Both Zuko and Katara may be young, but their trauma has forced them to grow up faster than either of them cared for. Their elements may be at odds with each other, but their love for their mothers makes them kindred spirits. Touched by how transparent and vulnerable Zuko is with her, Katara offers to try to heal his scar.
Maybe you could be free of it.
What?
I have healing abilities.
What's impactful about Zuko allowing Katara to touch his scar is that he wouldn't let others before her do so. Even if only briefly, they were on equal footing. The Ember Island players even commented on this scene in their performance, hinting that the writers were well aware of what undertones the audience was picking up on. June also teases them when they approach her to look for Aang.
I see you work things out with your girlfriend.
I'm
Not my girlfriend.
With Zuko being older, the writers felt more comfortable showcasing him in the dating pool, as that's considered more around the time teenagers become interested in courting. Iroh encourages him when they take shelter in the Earth Kingdom, and Zuko begins seeing May when he returns to the Fire Nation. Two more prominent moments between Zuko and Katara made viewers wonder if they would become an item in Book 3. Once Zuko joined Team Avatar and became Aang's firebending teacher, Katara was the last person willing to let bygones be bygones because of his betrayal in the cave. Unsure how to best rectify this, he seeks counsel from Sokka. He learned which fire fleet attacked their water tribe and offers Katara the chance to face the general who killed her mother, who was protecting Katara's identity as a waterbender. Now, while Aang was against this entirely, Zuko supported Katara's need for confrontation because he had just experienced something similar with his father.
It was to teach you respect.
It was cruel, and it was wrong.
Then you've learned nothing.
Wait, is that Mark Hamill?
Yep, because whenever you need to make an epic animated series, you need to put Mark Hamill in it and make him evil. Katara and Zuko are circling each other in a balancing act, not unlike Tui and La, pushing and pulling each other's boundaries, causing their normally diametric elements to start influencing their bending. Zuko has learned to listen and let the energy flow through him, reteaching himself and Aang how to bend fire and redirect lightning, similar to how waterbenders bend. Katara's passionate spirit drives her to bend assertively like a strike first, strike hard firebender would, making her a formidable opponent when Zuko and Katara infiltrate a Fire Nation ship and bloodbends a soldier to get some answers. If it had been any other team member, they would have been horrified by Katara's behavior, but Zuko barely flinches. In the end, Katara confronts her mother's murderer and spares his life. Now, while she lets the general go, she cannot fully forgive him. However, since Zuko allows her to gain closure, she can forgive him instead. They understand one another, forming an appealing opposites attract dynamic that is only partially identified by what we, the audience, see. During Sozin's comment while Aang faces Fire Lord Ozai, Zuko asks Katara to come with him to face off against his sister.
Katara, how would you like to help me put Azula in her place?
It would be my pleasure.
They rush to stop Azula, who is about to become the new Fire Lord. There, she challenges Zuko to an Agni Kai, the challenge that gave him his scar and got him banished by his father. Sensing that she's going through some sort of psychotic breakdown, Zuko accepts. With Katara watching on the side, the battle seems to be going in his favor until Azula catches Katara behind Zuko and directs lightning her way. Zuko, knowing that this could kill Katara, jumps in the way and attempts to redirect it and gets wounded. Now, the act alone doesn't mean he's in love. You could just argue that it's a moment that solidifies Zuko's transformation from zero to hero. The moment is a heroic act of bravery. I would argue that his transformation became complete when he stood up to his father during the eclipse and chose to train the Avatar. And here is just an impulsive need to protect another. With Zuko badly wounded, Katara fights Azula to prevent her from hurting him further. After Azula is defeated, Katara heals Zuko. Now admit it, you thought they were gonna kiss. Everybody felt it. This is why people campaign for Zutara. Now, I will go out on a limb here and bet you that J.J. Abrams saw this dynamic and thought, I bet I could pull that off with Ben Solo and Rey. The difference, though, is in the execution of the buildup. Katara and Zuko spent an entire season detesting one another and had a connective moment in Season 2. And then, after Zuko's betrayal of Katara's trust, spent Season 3 earning her trust back. Where Ben and Rey fall apart is in Rise of Skywalker. I mean, everything falls apart in Rise of Skywalker, but I digress. Ben's arc is just incredibly rushed and overshadowed by the mess. When they kiss, it feels off. Like, I'm all for romance in Star Wars, but guys, it's gotta be earned. You can't just put characters successfully together without working to build trust. If he had turned at the end of Last Jedi and spent Rise of Skywalker earning Rey's trust, I could buy it. Ben's redemption is just not as well executed as Zuko's.
You're comparing a film series to a TV show, though.
Fine, but it's just not as well executed as Anakin's, okay? Better?
I guess.
So let's stop this Zutara train for a second and return to Aang, as there's one possibly more compelling reason that Aang and Katara should not have gotten together. He's the Avatar. Avatars are not restricted from being with someone like the Jedi are, but the parallels are similar. Avatars are the keepers of the peace and sworn protectors of the nations. Their priority is to the world over their own selfish needs. Aang is counseled to remember this several times by his past lives, including an air nomad avatar, Yang Chen.
Taught me that I had to detach myself from the world so my spirit could be free.
But the Avatar can never do it. Because your sole duty is to the world.
And was warned by Avatar Roku how his feelings might cause poor judgment, as Roku's feelings for his best friend cost him his life and inadvertently caused the war.
I could have stopped Sozin and stopped the war before it started.
In Season 2, while meditating with the Guru to open all his chakras to control his Avatar state, which is the state designed to empower the current Avatar with the skills and knowledge of all the past Avatars, Aang is told to let go of his worldly attachments to tap into this fully. Now, this isn't unlike when Luke sees a vision of Han and Leia in danger and refuses to finish his training until after he goes to help them.
Will they die?
Difficult to see. Always in motion is the future.
I've got to go to them.
Luke's feelings cloud his judgment, and the choice to leave temporarily causes his friends more pain, especially concerning Han, plus, Luke lost a hand. It's really up for debate, actually, if Luke helped at all.
He found out who his dad was.
Sure, although Luke probably would have found that out eventually after his training was complete. We do know that that is what Yoda hoped for.
Told you, did he? Unexpected this is. And unfortunate.
Aang's feelings for Katara parallel Luke's here. Seeing a vision of her in trouble, he rushes off into battle, unable to control his Avatar state, which causes the temporary loss of Ba Sing Se to the Fire Nation, and Aang nearly gets killed in the process.
Boy, that is like Luke.
Avatars face a challenge when taking on a partner. Their first priority is their duty over their partner, which causes problems for Korra and Mako.
Well, I guess if we're both putting our jobs first, maybe there's no room for our relationship.
Their partners are also targets for those who wish to hurt the Avatar. Avatar Kuruk lost his partner to Ko, the face stealer spirit. It's a similar problem superheroes face. We've seen it with Superman and Lois and Peter Parker and MJ and Batman and like all of his girlfriends. It would take a specific kind of person to live with an Avatar, and to Katara's credit, she does support Aang's role as the Avatar and can hold her own. And she has also technically saved Aang more times than he has saved her.
Well, he did save the world though, so you could say they're even.
So, should the writers have put Aang and Katara together? Aang spends so much time during the series developing from a kid who ran away from his responsibilities to a self-realized Avatar that the show didn't take much time developing a romantic relationship as a couple as they did for like Sokka and Suki. I mean, the thing is, we never actually get to see Aang and Katara as mature adults having a relationship. By the time we get to the series Legend of Korra, Aang has already passed away. So, the only assets available to see them as a pair are in the comic books that took place after. Now, what is exciting though is that we are going to get more of Aang and Team Avatar besides the live-action series. Avatar Studios announced an animated movie featuring the team as adults, and it will be released in theaters on October 10th, 2025. But that's just what we think. But what do you think? Do you believe that Aang and Katara work as a couple? Do you prefer Zuko and Katara? Should Aang be with anyone? Or are you holding out till you see the movie just like us? Big shout out to the writer of this video, Bevan. You can find her social links below, and you can @ me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.